Tuesday, and welcome back to Real Talk with Cari and Haley, myself. Today, this is probably one of my favorite topics that we're going to be talking about. Last week, or I'm sorry, the week before, we were talking about the power of your own personal story. And a lot of times we get caught up thinking, this is just me. No one else has experienced this. My story really isn't important. But I'm here to tell you that your story, your traumas, your failing forwards is so inspirational to so many. And when you speak your own truth, when you speak your own story and you talk about it authentically, it can make such an impact. In fact, especially as a leader, really in any industry, when you can share and be vulnerable and transparent about what you have done or what you failed at, where you've succeeded, being able to cast that as part of your vision and talk about your growth and what your missions and values are, that is what attracts the right people to you on your team. So today we're here, Cari and I, we're going to share our stories of our own personal failures or struggles or our own personal transformations. I call it an identity crisis because I'm currently going through one myself. But Cari's going to share hers today. And then next week, I'll share mine. So Cari, I'm going to let you have the platform. I'll ask you a couple of clarifying questions, but I'm really excited for people to hear where you've come from and how you've grown.
Yeah, I mean, you said something important, which is, I've heard this multiple times, but your secrets keep you sick. So what people sometimes get in their own head is, I don't need to share my story. It might be embarrassing, or why would anybody care? Like, it's just my life. They've got their own things. But there's two sides of that. Number one is absolutely it will inspire other people. It always does, even though that's just our mind telling us it's not going to. But the second piece of it is if we don't share it, it will continue to stay with us. In other words, we can't actually be done with something and truly transform and be done with it until we're willing to share it out loud with other people, because then it's no longer a secret and it can't keep us sick anymore. That is very, very true from a psychological perspective. In fact, I heard that from a psychologist who's also an author, and he's like, truly, until you become comfortable sharing it with the world, it still is being hidden inside of you. Therefore, it's still keeping you sick in some way. You might think you've moved past it, but you actually haven't. So for whether it's because you want to motivate, inspire people, find your tribe, attract talent, and impact other people through your story, or you just simply don't want that story to continue to live in your future and in your life, you should be willing. You got to get to a place where you are willing to go through that uncomfortable feeling of sharing it. And so, so hopefully this resonates with somebody, and your story is never too small or too plain, or like people be like, oh my gosh, it's just like a boring story. No, nothing is boring. Nothing is too simple. Nothing is, because we all have our own, and it is unique to us. However, there's always somebody out there that this absolutely resonates with at the moment. So it doesn't matter. So you just have to stop thinking that way. Yeah, so, I guess what I would like to share, because we only have so much time on our Real Talk, and we'd like to keep it short and sweet. Haley keeps us on track with that, not me. I'm going to shorten this version. And if anybody wants to reach out to me and actually have a longer conversation about it, you guys know how to reach us. And the same will be true for Haley after she shares her story next week. We're doing this because we want to lead by example, because as we were in our conversation last week, we're telling you guys to do something. And we're like, we haven't even done this on this platform. We've done it before, but not on this platform. So we want to lead by example and share with you. And hopefully it impacts some of you and we have deeper conversations. So I, definitely will say to people that I am a recovering workaholic. There's no doubt about that. And it's a joke now, but at the time that I was working so much, it wasn't funny by any means, because I didn't take care of my health. I was probably in the worst physical health I'd been in my whole life. And I was in my 30s. I had a lot of stress. I had very low self-esteem. I had a failing marriage. I felt very bad as a parent. I didn't have a lot of present time with my kids. I was with them physically quite a bit because I put a lot of pressure on myself in that way, but it actually wasn't present time. So it didn't really matter. I just was making myself feel better about it. I made a lot of money, but I spent a tremendous amount of money. So I didn't have much to show for it. And the reason I did that is because I had nothing else fulfilling in my life. So I was going to material things to make me feel better. And that was my season of life of 10 years, that anybody looking from the outside in would not have seen that. Because of course they saw the success in business and making the money and the nice house and the cars and the kids and the things that looked fine from the outside, but it always does. Not knowing what was really going on the inside, but I was a very miserable human being. I wasn't happy at all. Even though I enjoyed what I did and I loved being a mom and I loved what I did in work, I didn't have joy in the day to day because of how I was living my life. And it was all basically because I was coming from a place of living very, very subconsciously. I just did things to do things. I didn't make any conscious decisions. I didn't really realize most of the time what I was even doing. I didn't even know I should be trying to be more present in the moment. I just didn't know what I didn't know.
Right.
And it just became this vicious cycle, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And so in this space of entrepreneurship, this is a very common thing, because also we get caught up in having to maintain a certain level of income. We have a hard time saying no to our clients. So then we say yes to them and no to other things that are important to us, not consciously, but subconsciously, out of fear-based decision-making, out of scarcity, out of all of these other subconscious thought patterns that are telling us why we should do what we're doing, even though they're not the things we want to do. And so I did that for 10 years, and I was extremely burnt out. I was going through a divorce. I was unhappy with myself. And I just was like, how in the heck did this happen? How is this my life when, all these other things that I've been very successful at, specifically in business, had been happening? And so I was blaming real estate. And then I realized it's not real estate. I could be doing anything. I'd still be the same way. I had to change myself. And so it was this moment of, I have to change myself. And what does that look like? I need to take care of myself, love myself, lead myself first, personally become a better human being, and then business is going to be secondary. And I went into that thinking, you know what, my business is probably going to go down a little bit. I'm probably going to make less money, but I was at a stage where it was okay. It was important for me to do this. But what I really recognized, Haley, was that my business didn't go down. In fact, I actually had more business success. And the aha was, because I was actually focusing on my own personal growth and development, that made my business be able to evolve in a different way and really come to a place where I realized what I wanted to be doing and what I could use my talents for. And it literally elevated my career at the same time. So a lot of our limiting beliefs are, if we go work on ourselves, it takes time away from the other things, primarily business, and we're going to lose money. The reality is your business can only grow to the extent that you do. So if you're not growing yourself at all, like I wasn't, that's your limitation. You're never going to grow past that anyway. And then you're going to continue on this hamster wheel of scarcity because you don't elevate, you don't get bigger and better opportunities, but you don't realize it in the moment. So my story is, I was a workaholic. I worked too much. I wasn't a great parent. I had a failing marriage. I was all these things. And I could be very embarrassed about sharing that. In the beginning, when I started to share that, that was very, very uncomfortable, because I felt a lot of guilt and a lot of shame, and people are going to be like saying things about me, and what are people going to think about me? And the reality was, I had very little judgment. I had a lot of people reaching out and being very inspired and wanting to connect because they were in the same situation or something similar enough that it resonated with them. And they just wanted to have some encouragement, like, I can change this too. Tell me, what was your first step? And then I realized, okay, there wasn't a lot of shaming from people or judgment. It was more like, thank you for sharing this. This really helped me. I need to make a change in my life too. And that's the moment I realized that our stories do matter, and they can help other people. And the second I spoke it out loud, I really truly feel like I was able to heal from it. And I no longer beat myself up about it, because I made a conscious decision in that moment to use it for the good of something in the future. So as long as it wasn't for nothing, then that time had a purpose. It maybe wasn't great at the moment, but it really has a greater purpose for the future. And the two purposes it has is, number one, I have a much better relationship with my now spouse and with my children, because I realized what I didn't want to do anymore. I learned from that experience. And because I was able to take care of myself, I was better for the other people. So I don't believe I would have the relationships I have today if it weren't for that experience. So that becomes, I think about it as a positive experience now because of what I have today, because of it, because I've used it as such, versus continuing to beat myself up about it and feel guilty about it, which, by the way, would keep me in a pattern of behavior that wouldn't allow me to have better relationships. So it's a very positive thing. And then the second thing is I've actually been able to really have conversations and help literally hundreds of real estate professionals through my coaching or just one-on-one conversations that reach out to me after I speak or I'm on a podcast that say, I just want to have a conversation. And I believe that this purpose has been, provided to me because of that experience. And so now I need to pay it forward. So now I think of it positively. I choose to think about it positively. And so no longer does it hinder me. It actually makes me better. And it helps helps me to help other people. And that can be the case, by the way, with any story. I know it's hard to think that way. Maybe my story seems way less, worse than yours. And you're like, yeah, but you should hear my story. I would never tell that to anybody. It's horrible. And the reality is, no, it doesn't matter. It isn't horrible. It probably happened for a reason. And if you can use it to be a better human being today and to help other people, it truly makes that situation have a reason and a purpose. And you don't have to feel bad about it anymore because you are actually going out there and doing something positive with it. So it doesn't matter what it is. It might take you longer to get comfortable to share it because of what it is, but I would really encourage you to figure out how can you start to do that, even in baby steps, if nothing else. I started in baby steps. I didn't tell the whole story at first. I started with little things to get myself comfortable. And then all of a sudden, one day I was at a training, I just let it all go. And it was just in that moment that I just decided I was going to do it and just go for it. And then from there, I was able to really do it moving forward. So that would be my suggestion. So that's my story. There could be some of you that are feeling like you're on a hamster wheel. You feel guilty about the parenting you're doing. Maybe you're not in a good relationship. Maybe you're not taking care of yourself. Maybe you're making a ton of money in real estate, but you feel like not a great human being. I would love to talk to you about it because I was in your shoes and you can make a conscious decision to make a change and you don't have to give up your business to be able to change those other things. You just have to be able to think about it differently. I had somebody that helped me think about it differently. And then I took some action steps and that's all you need too, because you need to get out of your own way to be able to see a different perspective from an outside view looking in. When you're in your situation, you only see what you can see because you're in it. It's a very different thing to have somebody come into your life and be able to see things from the outside and call you on it in a good way and hold you accountable to that.
Yeah, I love this. And I hope that this resonates with so many of you hearing this, that you're absolutely not alone. And so many of us feel or have gone through something similar to what Cari went through. And like you said, there doesn't need to be guilt. There doesn't need to be shame. I mean, these are all human conditions that we're feeling, and we don't need to attach ourselves. One thing that Tony Robbins always says that has always resonated with me is that once we realize that life is happening for us and not to us, we can change our story and we can change our state of mind. And once you change your state of mind, you really can step in to owning who you are and step into your greatness. And you're not ashamed anymore.
No, it's amazing. And so that's what we want to encourage you guys to do. We'd love to hear your stories. If we can be the platform that you just share your story out there, let us know. We'll bring you on the call, or we'll share your story for you, maybe anonymous, like where people don't know it's you, to help you like ease into it. Like we're here to help you do that because we know this is where your transformation can start, your whole life and business can change. So let us be a conduit in some way if possible. Next week, you're going to hear about Haley. We'd love to hear some of yours, even if it's just privately. Reach out to us. You guys know where to. You can DM us here. You can find us on Real Talk with Haley and Cari. Cari and Haley. I don't know which one. It doesn't matter. We're interchangeable on YouTube. And we would love to do that. So thank you guys so much for always being great listeners. There's going to be a little bit more consistency again now that the holidays are over. Summer is kind of officially over. I know not technically, but hope you guys are getting into some good routines, and we look forward to seeing you back here on Tuesdays and sharing more stories. I can't wait to hear yours, Haley, because you're going to inspire a lot of people.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cari. And thanks everyone for listening. And like Cari said, share your stories with us because we are all in this together. We're absolutely not alone. And whether you're in real estate or another business, corporate America, stay-at-home parent, doesn't matter. We want to hear how you're feeling and what you're going through because we're here to inspire and to walk this walk and this journey together.
Awesome. Yes, we are. Thank you guys so much. See you soon.